Anything else this morning in mind?
Really interesting, right? So we spent time on. Anything like that, right out of town. Turn it up. Okay. Much worse.
Okay.
Yes.
We're back into open session, and I would like to report that no votes or actions were taken during the executive session. Do we have any old business to come before the board? Hearing none. Do I have a motion to close the meeting? Adjourn. Thank you. Do I have a second?
Second.
Dan, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? The meeting is closed. We will now move into CREDC. I would like to welcome the Board of Directors for the Chautauqua Region Economic Development Corporation meeting. We're meeting at the BWB Building, 201 West 3rd Street, Jamestown, New York. We're also streaming live via YouTube and Zoom. It's January the 23rd, and it is currently 11:45. We'll start with a roll call vote. Gary Henry is here. Brad Walters.
Here.
Dan Hetzenrader. Here. Sagan Sheffield Smith.
Here.
Stephen Thorpe.
Here.
Dan DeMart.
Here.
Amy Harding. Tom Harmon.
Here.
Thank you. You should have already received the minutes from the December 19th meeting, had a chance to review those. Do we have any additions or corrections to the minutes? Hearing none, do we have a motion to accept the minutes?
So moved.
Thank you, Steve. Second, Dan. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? The minutes have been approved. Do we have any new business to come before the board? Hearing none, we'll go right into the executive director's report.
So I'm gonna do the same thing I did for the IDA, but I'm gonna try to be even more brief. And, you know, talk about all the great work that the partnership has done over the last year. You know, first of all, we really are grateful to our investors, one of which is the Ralph Wilson Foundation, who allocated over $1 million over 3 years to the partnership. Thank you. And of course, the various foundations, the Northern Chautauqua Community Foundation, the Gabby Foundation, the county. Thank you, PJ, and the IDA has also contributed. So, you know, we've got the staff is Nate manages it, and then Monica Simpson and Christy and Crystal and Rebecca and Jason are all part of the partnership. I won't go through all the advisory board meetings, but we'll call to attention that Dan Heitzenreiter is a co-chair on the advisory board. So they do a really, really good job. You know, if you look at over at the 2023 by the numbers, it's pretty incredible. All the work that goes into this kind of thing and what we've been able to accomplish. And Nate's going to tag team with me here a little bit. Sure he'll jump in, but you know, 40 partnership meetings, 11 grants awarded, 47 projects that we assisted. We've engaged over 65 different economic development stakeholders. We secured over almost $1.2 million in funding. We leveraged over $28 million through the partnership, 120 meetings with the community. And then funds allocated by PEG to support implementation of Chautauqua County Strategic Plan, Economic Development Plan projects. That's a mouthful, 26 projects. So that was over $460,000. And, you know, I'll just sort of point to a couple of things real quick here. If you go to the next page, page 10, you know, again, the Ralph Wilson Foundation is one of our primary supporters, $350,000 a year. And then the Northern Chautauqua Community Foundation has been contributing about $100,000 a year. Ralph Wilson Foundation is on here. Again, because they, like I talked earlier, they supported the ARPA Marketing and Business Assistance Program. with that 258,000. But that's pretty incredible. 1.1, that's where that $1.2 million of grants secured comes from. Do you want to add anything to that section right there?
No, I think you covered it.
Okay. Additional dollars leveraged, some of the big ones are the DRI in Dunkirk. We worked for 2 years on that and provided support, not only us personally, talking through projects and how to do it, but also supporting a consultant to help write that both years to write the application. So they were finally awarded last year the 10 million. So that was pretty big. We also helped with the West Side Sewer Extension project, which was over 12 million. And then, of course, the Fast New York for the Ripley site, 5.25 million. So all said, we were involved in leveraging our funds to secure over $28 million in grant funds. So that's pretty significant. 5 different work groups, the business development work group. Did you want to say anything about that? Any more about that, by the way, before I move on?
So obviously that $28 million is an impressive number, and that's our most successful year to date. I did want to just mention that in the last 4 or so years since we started the partnership, the total number that I'm more impressed about than direct funding to the partnership is our leverage and support for other partners has brought more than $44 million to this county. That's state, federal, and philanthropic resources. So
That would otherwise not have come to the county from outside. Maybe page 11, I'll talk about, obviously we already talked about development, ready site preparedness and the Chattacoin River and the NRG reuse. I talked about all those things. And I think, obviously I'm gonna repeat myself, but this just shows how we're partnering. We got the planning department, we've got the partnership, and we got the IDA all working together on all of these projects. So, and that is fairly new to this county. I think going back 7 or 8 years, we really started pulling together and making this happen. We did support the shop local through the chamber, through the workforce development work group, or through the business development work group, workforce development work group. Again, these are all made up of stakeholders that have a skill set in that area. And, we meet quarterly and, work on projects that we all agree are important to the county. But the talent attraction and retention initiative, I already talked about that. And we did support Dream It, Do It. Do you want to say anything about that?
So one thing I'll add, we're not going to go into a lot of depth in the interest of time, but maybe every other month or quarterly, we'll come to you with, 10 minutes where we can elaborate on some of these things. I think maybe March timeframe would be good for us to sort of unveil to the board the Live Chautauqua and Choose Chautauqua campaign. And then just to note, our support of Dream It, Do It, the IDA also contributed 10,000, so it was 20,000 total.
And then on infrastructure, I won't talk about these 4 projects, but we did contribute $14,400 to the village of Fredonia to take a sort of a high level look at what their options were moving forward. And they came up with they worked with Labella really to come up with the options of do we continue to invest in their current plant in reservoir, do we do something else, and they really came up with those three initiatives. So we're involved in that. And then the housing development work group, I already talked about the housing market assessment and development plan. We also did a code of administration enforcement feasibility study. Rebecca took the lead on that. Placemaking, there's a whole lot of them. Obviously the DRI worked on trail maintenance. We've been doing a lot of work on that. The Village of Mayville waterfront activation, they got a big grant, $675,000 grant because of the work that we're doing with them to identify projects. Got complete streets stuff going on. we downtown master plans and New York Forward applications. We're helping communities to go through the process that they really need to go through in order to identify projects that they can then apply to the state for. A lot of them don't have the skill set or the resources, and we're really sort of helping them to really tap into those sources of funding that they otherwise wouldn't be able to. Do you want to say anything more about that?
No, I think this is probably one area where we have a lot of momentum. We have a lot of irons in the fire across the county, whether it's waterfront activation, downtown revitalization. I think we have sort of this model that's proven to work where we plan, convene partners collaboratively, we find resources and we implement a variety of projects that, improve our quality of life for our community, make our downtown waterfront attractions more attractive to visitors and business investment. So a lot of momentum, and I think we've set the stage for further success in that area as well.
And then we have what I might call like a mini CFA, right? Or a local CFA, where communities apply for funding that we have available. I can't remember what the total number was on it. It was like 200 some $1,000. And sort of through a competitive process, we have a review group that looks at them, and then we award the funding. And you can see the list of projects like seats for Fredonia Opera House, right? I mean, New York Main Street restoration projects, Barcelona Harbor, Hamlet Gateway project, and the list goes on. So that's really great that we can help out these communities with these projects that are important to them. Did you want to say anything more about that, Nate?
Yeah, and again, the intent of the funds, we were able to award over $450,000 last year, the same amount this year. Our primary goal is leveraging additional funds to the county. So providing that critical match share requirement for our partners, the communities, municipalities, going after primarily state grants, but other programs as well.
And then, of course, in 2023, we got the county chambers Economic Development Award, which we were really flattered and appreciative to receive. Thank you, Dan, and your whole group there. And we really appreciate that a lot. And, I didn't say this up front, wanted to thank, Jason Sample really worked hard on this. And thank you, Jason. And also Ian and Sue Kellogg worked really hard on this. And I think you did a really nice job. As of 4 or 5 years ago, we didn't even have an annual report. And so each year it gets a little better, I think. So appreciate that.
And Mark, just add, I know you think the team, I just want to send our appreciation to the entire team. Obviously, Monica, Christy, Crystal, but also Rebecca and Jason. I'd add Jeanette and especially Kayla to that mix as well, helping us keep upwards of $6 million in direct funding to the partnership since 2019, 2020, all of which has very stringent reporting requirements and specified uses. So lots to keep track of. I think our team's done a great job with that. And the team, again, we couldn't have done it without each and every one of them, but also, Dan Heitzenreiter is our advisory board co-chair, all our advisory board co-chairs, of which Dan DeMart was in the past. And again, I think there's 65 total partner entities, organizations, municipalities, but over 120 individuals involved in our 5 work groups who regularly participate and contribute and are helping us move forward with this process. So a lot of work ongoing and even more potential going forward.
Very well done. We have a treasurer's report.
Excellent.
Okay, same thing, treasurer's report. Any old business to come before the board? Hearing none, do I have a motion to adjourn the meeting? Do I have a second? Second, thank you. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? The meeting is adjourned. And do we need to have a seat? Okay, so we're done. Thank you.
We're not done.
We're not done.
Uh-oh. It's Mark, I think tomorrow. You're the only one that can sing in this